Right. Loquacious Libations is not live, but we're here. It's Wednesday night for you.
8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And this week we're making the Wobbly Gobbler, which is a riff of a riff of a riff of a very potent drink. I think I got the riffs right.
We'll see after we get into it, right? Then we'll see if we can remember how many riffs.
Yep, but we're circling back to the Wild Turkey Rare Breed, which is a barrel proof whiskey. We're combining that with some Benedictine and some walnut bitters. And I'll go through a bunch of stuff, a little history for you on this drink. But boy, what a week, really.
No kidding.
What now here?
Well,
now,
what a half a week.
Right, half a week. In the last week, we've had, just to reiterate a little bit, and what are we talking about? We're talking about the craziness
that we keep out there.
We bring a little bit of it in just to where we are, because I think as we progress, we can keep going back and saying it's gotten crazier and crazier and crazier. So, 3 big things this week. We had an assassination attempt on a former president. Yeah. We had the current president get diagnosed with COVID for the 3rd time, even though he's been vaccinated and boosted everything that's required, according to him. And then 3, we had the largest IT outage globally in the history of IT. And it's only half a week.
Right.
What's going to happen between now and when you're watching this?
There's no telling. But I will be there to monitor the chat and interact with you guys along with it that evening too.
I will be very tired because I'm going to spend a whole day on the ocean that day. So,
well, I will hold down the fort here then. So.
Yes. Yeah, no, you'll be typing away.
Yep.
Answering your questions.
As long as there's anybody
answering your questions live. Point, right? Hey, another thing we should need to talk about is if you guys have questions about this drinks and kind of about the direction we're going, or if you got any questions about anything, it's loquaciouslibations@gmail.com.
Right.
That's an email. You can drop it to us. One of us will answer your questions, or both of us might answer. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Also, you can leave a message on YouTube. We do answer the replies over there, and of course Facebook as well. We monitor all the social media and make sure that we reply to anything you guys send.
Sooner or later, we're going to catch up and get the Instagram stuff figured out. Like we should be taking pictures as we go along, but we're not that smart. So.
And tonight, I am going to at least provide you guys with a second camera angle. So while he's making the drink, I'm going to get some shots of it, and we'll edit that in by the time we post it.
Yeah, that'll make it for a more interesting kind of take. And if we can work that in the future, it's not going to be happening quickly. But if we can work a second camera in on our live feed and toggle between the two, we'll eventually figure that out. Maybe
that's the idea.
Sometime in the next 5 years.
Yep. So right now we're experimenting a little bit and just kind of playing with the production side of it, getting our ideas, what we want to do with stuff. I think we're having a great time with it too.
Oh.
I mean, we had one of our most successful shows just this past week.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but we had the best time.
We did.
But both of us said, geez, that was finally what we had been experiencing for many, many years, where we just both were cracking each other up, busting balls, just enjoying each other's company, really.
Being jackwagons.
Being jackwagons. That's exactly right.
1 part bartended,
2 parts bullshit. All right, man.
All right. Wobbly Gobbler, huh?
The Wobbly Gobbler.
That sounds a little, well, never mind.
Why do they call it the Wobbly Gobbler? Okay.
Sounds like a barfly.
I guess we'll start with the riffs. This is a take, an offshoot of the Manhattan, the classic Manhattan. And from that came another drink a bartender that had a Manhattan, and then when I'm going back quite a ways, then made a rusty nail, which is Scotch and Drambuie, which Drambuie is a Scotch-based liqueur, but it has Highlands honey in it, which is very unique honey because it's from a specific flower in the Highlands of Scotland, and it only blooms for like 10 days. So all the beekeepers bring their bees up there and harvest honey. So then off of that came another one. The next riff was and I want to say I think it's called the Casual Gentleman, something Gentleman.
Okay.
And that is, instead of Drambuie, they put in Benedictine. So that's the liqueur that we're using tonight. And I'll tell you a little bit about this because this is pretty interesting stuff. And I'm going to have Michael taste just a little bit of it so he'll get how this is very unique. And it's...
I'm gonna give him the look.
Yeah.
Break the fourth wall there.
Well,
like we don't already.
Exactly. Benedictine is a liqueur that it kind of goes to the name directly what you're thinking. The Benedictine monks in Italy in 1510 came up with the final recipe. The recipe is still the same today. There's 27 ingredients in here. I don't know all the ingredients, but it's flowers, spices, herbs, a variety of things. And then it is fermented and turned into a liqueur. So it's a 42 proof. And what's interesting about this particular drink is another riff. The next riff from the Casual Gentleman is called the Staggering Gentleman, which is made with barrel-proof bourbon, in particular Stag Junior, along with Benedictine and then a walnut liqueur. Now, the Benedictine and the walnut liqueur make the drink a very sweet drink.
Right.
And that was the complaint that was received by not everybody, but by the gentleman that created that particular drink. Right. And that's a modern classic. It was around 2010 that was created in Chicago. Right. So they changed it up, and instead of using the walnut liqueur, which is very good. I've had that drink, and we could make that drink, and maybe we'll make that drink in the future.
Sounds good.
But to get the sweetness out of it, because this is it's not super sweet, but there's a sweetness to the Benedictine. Instead, put a walnut bitters, a dash of walnut bitters in, so you still get that walnutty flavor a little bit that mixes with the Benedictine, and it blends so well with a barrel proof. But to stand up to all that, we're using a barrel proof product. Now, the guy that came up with this particular drink was out of San Francisco at Branch and I can't think of the name of the bar now. Branch and something. Oh my God. That bothers me when the Swiss cheese kicks in. So they took the Wild Turkey Rare breed and put it into the same thing and called it a Wobbly Gobbler. So that's what we're doing.
Works for me. I was telling Carmen about it the other day, and she didn't know what Benedictine was. So she actually looked it up while I was driving for her and checked it out.
Well, that's cool. You know, here's another thing. One of the things that if you follow us and I got a comment by a guy that I work with today who does watch us on Facebook, and he says, you know, I see the stuff that you're doing, and he said, I'm always a week behind you. I'll make what you made last week, this week, and he doesn't watch us live.
Right.
Okay, because he's working at the time. But he says, I'm building a little bar. And I said, yeah.
So are we.
I said, over the course of this, you're going to have, you will see this liqueur in probably about 3 or 4 weeks after I get back, because we'll use this in a gin cocktail. But you're going to see this a couple more times. We'll use this probably 3 or 4 more times so we can get rid of half the bottle.
Nice.
But
excuse, right?
there's other liqueurs that you're going to see that are going to come into to play here, and if you go out and little by little, just you'll accumulate a pretty nice assembly for a home bar, and be able to make all these drinks. So, can you believe it? I know a lot of these things, but like this is not new to me.
Right.
This was in our house when I was growing up.
Gotcha. I've never heard of Benedictine at all.
Well, let's.
Yeah, I was thinking Bactine first time you said it, but
Yes, we're going to put some antiseptic in your mouth.
kidding, of course. All right. Very aromatic.
Yep. Very herbal, very aromatic.
A little medicinal.
So unique.
Wow.
So unique, isn't it?
Okay, Jaeger fans would like that. That's got a little black licorice, but not to the point where I hate it because I can't stand black licorice.
Well, you're not going to like a couple of things coming up.
Oh, that's fine.
But no, actually, we have some drinks coming up that are New Orleans classics, but they're made with absinthe. But there's such a small amount of absinthe that you literally, I've got to go get a spritzer because you spritz the glass with the absinthe. Right. Otherwise, the absinthe will overpower the drink.
Gotcha.
And that has got, and if you use too much of it, it's a deep anise flavor. So,
but back to my evaluation of that, very sweet.
Yes, it's sweet. That's why
very sweet,
it pairs well with the bitters.
Right. Besides the black licorice, there's other things I'm getting, but I can't separate them.
Yeah,
they're so well blended in there.
There's clove and cardamom and cinnamon and hyssop and there's like I said, there's 27 ingredients.
I noticed the clove and the black licorice mainly.
Yeah,
off the top.
So well, let's get to building this cocktail.
Sweet, let's do
it. I think you're gonna like it now.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna like it. You haven't shown me one yet that I don't like.
All right, well, let's lay our cherries in.
All right, we got the real thing again.
Yes, of course. We got to have real cocktail chairs. We're having real cocktails, man.
Absolutely.
Now here, a lot of people will say, well, why do you put the cherry in first? Because they're used to seeing their parents or their grandparents, or even at bars, they'll drop the cherry in at the end.
Right.
That's actually a mistake.
Or skewer it even.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a different presentation.
Okay.
I drop them in the bottom of the glass because then the drink gets poured onto it, and the little bit of syrup, the cherry syrup that's in there, will blend into the drink itself.
Makes sense.
Yep, and that's why. So let's start out with a dash of walnuts. Now, if you want to taste that.
No, that's all right. I figured out, don't do bitters by themselves. And we're what measurement on these again?
It's basically a 2-to-1, and because this is a rather strong drink, we'll do 3/4 of an ounce of Benedictine and 1.5 ounces
Gotcha.
of the wild turkey. Or here, that's another thing. It's any barrel-proof whiskey. So if you don't want to go out and spend $55 or $60 on wild turkey rare breed, you don't have to. Go out and buy, on our hunt video, if you want to go back and look at that, I mentioned...
There's a couple of them in there you might...
Well, I mentioned Benchmark Full Proof. For $25, you get an 125 proof whiskey, which is more proof than this whiskey is. I mean, this is a considerably better whiskey. I mean, I personally think so, but it's double the price, so it better be.
Plus, you're doing it in a cocktail, so it will help with that a little bit too, as far as the... not using top shelf stuff or whatever, right?
Correct.
I mean, hell, like I said, I grew up doing Manhattans with ancient age. Not even
and there's
fancy.
nothing here.
There's not a thing wrong with it.
No, not a damn thing at all.
Any of these drinks with any bourbon, but just remember, some of the advice Scott's giving you is about the proof points versus the flavor profiles and tastes and everything.
Now the other reason why they call this the Wobbly Gobbler is because, of course, you have a barrel-proof whiskey combined with a 42 proof liqueur. That's some serious amount of booze.
Right.
So you drink one of these and you know you're drinking a drink.
Which is exactly why we ended up taping this on Saturday instead of Thursday.
Yes, you are absolutely correct, sir. All right.
And actually, originally, we had planned to do it this afternoon, and then you ended up having to work, so yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I got a little bit of that.
The bitter.
Well, and it's sticky. This is sticky.
Gotcha.
Yeah, those Benedictine monks know what they were doing. I don't want to spill that. I am so far. You know, I used to be able. The proper way to do this is actually like this.
And just turn it over. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Very
you
cool.
pull your fingers, but I suck at it.
That's all right. It'll taste just as good. And I know you said this is usually served in a martini glass.
Typically, it's served in a martini glass, but I couldn't find. I have 2 martini glasses, and I couldn't find one of them, so I just serving it in a coupe, which is also technically just
Similar
fine.
style. Yeah. Of course, you can use a coffee cup if you want to. But
Yeah, I mean, there's no rules. Now, here's another thing. When you stir drinks, my son Jack asked me this week. He's like, yes, he asked me to make him a Manhattan. I said, you know how to make a Manhattan. Why don't you make it? He says, Dad, I don't know why, but we use the same ingredients, but your drinks are better. And I said, well, it might be. I asked him right away, how are you stirring it? He goes, I just stir it. I said, the trick to stirring a glass is when you take your spoon, you want the curved side of your spoon against the metal and keep it against the metal. Keep the spoon against the metal. You don't bruise the liquor as much. And there, my son's proof positive that there is a slight difference.
wow. We got to get the 2 of them in here one night.
Oh, that'll be a circus.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, here we
You
go.
choose.
I'll take one.
Okay. Cheers.
And cheers to you guys for your Whiskey Wednesday. Mm-hmm.
That's tasty, isn't it?
That is.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Benedictine is it's really tasty. It pairs with lots of stuff.
And here, I totally forgot to.
Oh, that's so
Swiss
funny.
cheese.
Yeah. Here we had this whole sequence figured out how we were going to sit there and
Tape it so
take
you
a
guys can
close
see
up
his
so you
hands
can
and
see
everything.
up and see how he's doing
Luckily,
this.
the camera's a little bit elevated.
All right, I got to go wash my hands because they're sticky.
All right, Scott's gonna
real
wash his
quick.
hands. I'm going to get you guys caught up on our normal social media stuff. So if you have not already, please go to youtube.com and subscribe to us. We are at Loquacious Libations there. We're also on Facebook on our own branded page at facebook.com/Loquacious Libations and Instagram at instagram.com/loquacious_libations. Most of the times we cast from my music page, which is facebook.com/allmadmusic. By the way, today I did on our YouTube, when I was making our upload from last week, I added a brand new folder in there, a playlist for us called Featured Music. So
awesome.
we now have a place to put stuff like the music that we've actually played on here, or
And
even
stuff that we mentioned,
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, even anything that we reference or anything like that. Anything that you guys check out that you thought we might like to hear, let us know. We'll feature
we'll listen to it. I mean,
we
listen to so much music.
Oh yeah,
Between the 2 of us,
and different styles and everything.
Yeah. I mean, just don't send us polkas.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no roll out the barrel.
All right, don't make me spit that out now.
This is
yeah,
a really
today
nice drink, isn't it?
Today, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
But it's stiff. It's
Yeah.
a stiff drink.
And it's so sweet you don't realize how stiff it is either. But I threw, let's see, Nathan's song in there, Broken Pieces. I put in the couple of the originals of mine that we played. I put in the Andy Wood that Lee sent us from last week. And of course, I've got Xanadu in there.
Well, you got to put in the goose clip
yes.
with Trey Anastasio that I mentioned.
I got sidetracked while I was putting it all in. I forgot about that one.
I'll tell you what, I listened to it again this morning. It's a 28-minute clip, and it is just 28 minutes of really feel-good music. Nice. I mean, that's just the way to kind of think about it.
Okay. Remind me before we leave tonight, and I'll make sure and put it in the folder before we leave.
Sure.
Before you leave.
That makes sense. Well, I'm glad you liked this cocktail.
Yeah.
I was excited about this cocktail. Now, here, for those of you that are building your bar too, this is the 750 milliliter bottle. And now I got this bottle because I knew that I was going to be featuring more cocktails that have this. It also comes in the 375 or the pony bottle. That's like another $10 or $18 cheaper. I mean, it's considerably cheaper.
Gotcha.
So if you don't want to go spend $40, I think it's 28 is what I think it is.
All right.
So look for that.
Very good. So you know what? One idea, and here we're thinking out loud again. One idea that I had was, you're talking about these folks building their own little home bars and everything. What about a show devoted to that? Just going through kind of, I mean, we'll do a drink, of course, but maybe have some examples back here of things and mention drinks that you can do with them, or that we've even featured already.
We could also,
that'd be a production one rather than a live one, I think.
It'd be a production one, and okay, here, foreshadowing.
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 Okay.
One of the things that we can do is, eventually when we get to a point, if this grows enough, we'll do some merchandising. Right. Okay, so we can have an Amazon store, but then, for bar gear. But then there's other things, there's other vendors out there and Florida is, well, if you're in Florida, there's 39 states that you can pretty much ship booze to them if you can't find it locally. Right. So if you can't find a 375 milliliter bottle of this, you can have it shipped to you. And there are vendors out there that we can create stores within. Okay. And say, like, hey, go here and click and you'll find this here. And the pricing is pretty much the same. Right. And then we get, $2 in our pocket.
There you go.
Which we'll just put back into the programming anyways. So.
And we'll just beef up what we've got and improve the show.
Yeah, I mean, we have no idea where this is going to go. We're just having a good time doing it, and I don't.
And if it doesn't go anywhere, I'm still going to.
Well, right. That's where you're driving right to where I was going, right off the same cliff. Yeah. Selma and Louise driving off the cliff.
Laurel and Hardy.
No, Laurel and Hardy, exactly. Here, there's Laurel and Hardy did the classic scene with the old railroad.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, that's the two of us.
Me jumping out of the gate before we're ready most of the time. Episode 1, Manhattan's.
Oh, man. But what's funny? It's, now this is the first kind of a Manhattan riff that we've done. I will say that there is going to be no less than probably 10 or 15 Manhattan riffs that we'll eventually get to. So it's almost apropos that we did that first.
Right.
And did we do a second one yet?
Not another Manhattan, no.
Well,
we did one prior to casting with a different liquor that you brought.
That's the bottle that you saved.
Oh, that was the Colorado finish.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I already know that we have a couple Manhattans coming up, but with different.
And just for your reference, we'll.
Oh yeah. Okay.
This.
If you find this bottle somewhere, it'll have dust on it. It'll be about right around between $65 and $75. Buy it. Just flat buy it.
Yeah. Something to do with that one night.
Yeah, you know, we'll
I don't
we'll
think we've
figure that
actually
out.
shown this one on camera.
We'll
but
show it.
Yeah, we've got here RM Rose Straight Bourbon Whiskey. This comes out of Dillard, Georgia. When I went on vacation, there is a distillery right next to the Dillard house. And I purchased that bottle of bourbon to come back and try. And we did. We did a straight tasting on it one night.
Yeah,
Pretty tasty.
and it's for as young. That's actually a pretty young whiskey.
2-year bourbon, 80 proof? Or was it 90?
I think it.
I
Well,
can look it up
I
again.
was going to say you can look at the label.
Yeah.
Hello.
I didn't bother with that.
I didn't think it was 80 proof.
Nope, 45%, so 90 proof.
90 proof.
There we go.
So, you know, for a 2-year-old whiskey,
Wasn't bad at all. I mean, I
and
expected it
for
to
not
be
not
more
a
moonshine.
mainstream distillery, it's not rough and ready.
Right.
It's just ready.
Right.
I mean, but one of the things that's interesting, it's the same thing with Florida whiskeys and Texas whiskeys. If you get south, which that's south,
Mm-hmm.
once you get over the mountains in Tennessee, it gets a little hotter in the southeastern part of the U.S. and things mature faster because of the heat.
Right.
You know, now they still get a reason. I mean, they get a kind of a winter where, like, St. Augustine
yeah.
Distillery does
I've
not
seen
really
snow up
get a
there
winter.
before.
Yeah.
You know.
So, you know, at least they
More
get
than,
some
say,
days
the
where those
Atlanta
barrels
area.
contract.
But one thing that was really cool while I was up there too, and I think you and I talked about this, but I don't think we ever discussed it. I think we were trying to the night that we did the Manhattans, but got off on a tangent because we had a third in here that night who
Yeah.
also goes on tangents.
Oh yeah. Oh, 3 peas in a pod right
Yep.
there.
Buck is welcome back anytime too, though. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
But where I was going with that was this distillery had some merchandise in there, including the album for the movie Deliverance. They had used copies of it that were signed by Billy, the banjo player.
Is he local?
Yes.
Ah.
And so they had articles, and
I mean, he's got to be.
he's getting up there.
He's got to be.
He may have even passed recently.
I was going to
Well,
say he's got to be at least our age.
yeah. But either way, he used to come into the distillery and either shop or sit there or something like that.
Sip
I
whiskey?
honestly can't remember. Yeah, sip whiskey and all this kind of stuff. I mean, they've got moonshine and bourbon and all kind of good stuff there. They got wines, you know.
Hey, why not?
Yep, that's RM Rose in Dillard, Georgia.
I that would be an interesting business to be in.
Yeah.
If we grow this, maybe that's one of the directions we'll go in.
You know what? If we ever get to the point where we can travel a little bit, I'd love to just go up there and tour that little distillery itself.
Oh, we'll just make a big tour. Go
Mm-hmm.
go there. Go up into Tennessee. I mean, just up in
Oh, yeah.
Chattanooga is Chattanooga Whiskey Company. That's really good Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah. What about North Carolina? Anything good up there?
You got the Bowman brothers in Virginia. North Carolina, I don't. Somebody is in North Carolina. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of bootleggers that ran in North Carolina.
Right.
So there's got to be some North Carolina distilleries. I just don't know one off the top of my head.
Right. The only thing I really know right off the top, of course, is not bourbon distillery, wine, is Biltmore.
Oh, well, yeah, the Vanderbilts were. It's actually kind of shocking they don't have a distillery.
Right.
I mean, obviously, Mr. Vanderbilt was a railroad magnate,
Right.
but
That's good stuff, man. It's like you said, it's strong.
it's very strong. And now here, if you don't like it it's got a fair amount of sweetness to it. You could put 2 dashes of walnut bitters. Are you picking up any of the walnut?
A little bit, yeah.
It's a hint.
Yeah.
It's a hint, and this is another thing you'll see this when we get into the fall. This will come back around. We'll do some cocktails that have walnut bitters and chocolate bitters, and chocolate bitters will be more towards the holidays, and the walnuts
Right.
will be and
Well, I can't
the
wait for some of
November
the
time
holiday stuff
period.
you've got lined up for us.
Oh yeah, no,
'Cause I mean, he hasn't told me anything, but I can just imagine some of the stuff we're going to go through.
it's a lot of fun. We'll do like there's a tradition where I grew up. You have your hot toddies. You were talking about your
Right.
toddy, your morning toddy.
I might have one of those in the morning.
Well, there you go. There's a tradition where I grew up where people would, and I want to say it was December the 6th, or the weekend that was around that would be Wassail Day. So there's a German tradition, and where I grew up, there's lots of German immigrants, and there's a lot of immigrants.
Isn't that right around some other date there?
I don't know what you're talking about. But where I grew up, that was called St. Nick's Eve.
Okay.
For whatever reason, and that was the tradition was the adults would have wassail and they would trick their kids to going to bed. Now wassail is a
I've
German.
always wondered this, actually, believe it or not, because of course, here we go wassailing, but
Right.
yeah,
Wassail is it's an excuse, is what it is. The Germans use it as an excuse to go around to their neighbors and drink booze at everybody's house. But the kids have to go to bed early because the adults are coming around. And if they don't, St. Nick's Eve, St. Nick is coming, and if they get a candy underneath their pillow, they know that they've been a good boy or girl that year. And if they don't get the candy, then they know they're on the naughty list.
okay,
Okay, so the kids would hurriedly go to bed because they want the candy.
right.
And it was a peppermint candy always.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and that disappears when the Santa Claus bubble pops in about second or third grade. Well, then you got third and fourth graders going, "Fuck you, Dad! You just want to drink booze."
Oh man. So, okay, out of curiosity, you can talk Christmas. Here's one of our tangents a little bit here, but that's the kind of stuff it leads to. Any good peppermint cocktails?
You ever hear of Dr. McGillicuddy?
No.
Oh, yeah. There is a peppermint liqueur called Dr. McGillicuddy,
Okay.
and there are 2 or 3 cocktails that are made with that. But the most common thing that Dr. McGillicuddy's put in is hot chocolate.
Okay.
So you get a chocolate mint.
Right, with a kick, a
Correct.
mule kick.
But it's only like it's a liqueur though, so it's only
Right.
like 40 proof, so you're not killing yourself.
Right.
And down here it's hard. It's hot. Hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
70 degrees.
it's
outside.
70. I mean, we don't put sweatshirts on until at least 50.
Right.
Now here, all the people up there. Now here, growing up.
All the people in the north that are watching us right now, if they're already, are going,
Gr-
fuck you.
Yeah, growing up, it would be like in the springtime. As soon as it got to be like 50 to 55 degrees, you'd get that first spring day, and it would always come in March. That's the day you'd go outside and play shirts and skins, basketball.
Right.
And you'd get, 4, 5, 6, 10 guys, as many kids as you can, as long as it was equal, and play shirts and skins outside. I mean, that's just the way everybody would go to the park, and that would be the pickup basketball game.
See, in Hateville, it was football.
Okay.
I was a few years behind you, but, Hateville, Georgia, that was the fall get out and play thing. Was most of the time, it was shirts and skins football and stuff like that in the little parks that were around that area.
Here's the
Hateville
thing.
was a lot of fun to grow up in.
You know what's sad, though, if you think about, okay, now you and I grew up, 6 years apart?
Yeah.
6 years apart and about 800 miles apart.
Right. So I got the southern upbringing.
I got the Yankee
Great
upbringing.
Lakes. Great Lakes.
The
right.
upper Midwestern. Anyways, but
Don't
here...
you know? Sorry. That's not y'all.
No, that's
I know.
Minnesota.
That's not y'all, I know.
Hey there. Don't you know? Anyways, but think about it. What's the common thread there? We're both playing sports outside in shirts and skins.
Right. Of course, I was not very athletically inclined, so
Kids today are doing this.
last picked in the whole bit, but I still was out there playing. Absolutely, yeah. There is none of that getting outside and doing shit anymore. And people complain. Here, I have a theory. You've heard my theory of time relativity before.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll go with that sometime too. But in this particular case, when we were kids, they talk about climate change. When we were kids, we were out there shirtless, playing around, sweating our asses off. You know, in high school, it was more, instead of out there playing games and shit, it was walking the streets with my long-haired friends with a boombox and playing Rush and Led Zeppelin and shit. But still, it was 90 fucking degrees. It's 90 degrees now. This is not any different. We perceive it differently because things have progressed.
No, we perceive things differently because the media says that
media
there's,
has said, "Oh,
there's
it's warmer now than it's ever been
global
before."
warming, which is a lie.
Okay, here. Concrete. There's more concrete out there. It absorbs the heat itself. That's the global warming problem right there by itself, brother. It's not carbon dioxide or all that other. No, I'm just kidding there. I know there are other factors. But what I'm doing is...
And we're not scientists either.
Yeah,
So.
Here, what I'm doing, though, is demonstrating absurdity with absurdity.
One of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just showing you how ridiculous, and not you, but how ridiculous.
That's okay. You can call me ridiculous. Well, I am ridiculous. You know that
so am I. But, I mean, hey, we're all mad here, right?
Yep. I'm starting to feel this, and it's feeling pretty good.
Yeah,
I had kind of an aggravating weekend so far.
Did you?
Yeah, and it's going to continue.
Well, of course, because before you go on vacation, that's exactly what happens.
And there's other stuff that's going on with my. I mean, again, I only work 3 days a week, so I really can't complain. It's at this point, I'm fortunate enough in that my personal finances kind of avoided the 2008 debacle, but I still have to make some income to make the ends meet.
Right.
But I don't need it very much.
Right.
So I have disposable income so I can buy booze.
Right.
and do live streams.
And do live streams on Facebook, right.
Yes. But still, there's always some aggravation that comes with the territory. And it doesn't make a difference. I really like the job that I have now because really nobody messes with me. The people I work with are genuinely nice people. Mm-hmm. But then sometimes genuinely nice people are dicks. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I mean...
Well, hell, everybody can be sometimes. I mean, everybody out there.
Oh, yeah, no, my wife reminds me.
Everybody.
My wife reminds me on a regular basis when all of a sudden I'll hear from the other end of the house, "Hey, asshole!"
I don't quite get that one, but I can tell tones here and there for sure. And we have steps here, so it comes down the steps. This place is shaped like a sugar scoop in an old base cabinet.
That is very apropos. It absolutely is. Now that I think about
any musicians will get that. But basically, what I'm talking about is a speaker that's pointed backwards and has a curved surface
for the sound to reverberate out,
and it acts like a slingshot.
Yeah,
it shoots that sound out the bottom. So if you got a really strong line,
I get it.
The response is incredible. Just to let y'all know, but that's the way this apartment is shaped, though, because you've got the bedroom here, but the upper side, and then the stairs, and then the back door.
Yep, I get it. No, I get it.
It's in a Z shape.
I had to think about it for a minute. But I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yep. So it's kind of easy to hear sometimes in here. Because of that.
Yeah, it's not like you have a big place either.
Right. Well, yeah, it's kind of tiny.
Yeah. Well, I like your apartment.
It's all good though. I mean, Betty and I were talking about that today. We get a really good deal here, a lot
And
less than what you're seeing advertised for rent anywhere right now.
oh,
You know, as far as that goes. And that's not to say that the rent here is any better than anywhere else. It's just I got it in a good time, and I guess I've been here long enough. But you know, because this year will be 7 years, 24. No, this coming up this weekend will be 6 years. Excuse me.
okay. Yeah,
The last week of July.
that makes
2018.
sense. Because I remember moving you in here. It was hot as fuck.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was here. I had my heart attack in October. I moved in here in July, in end of July, the very next year.
Yeah. Now here, another parallel. You've heard us talk about the parallels that we each have. Michael hit some bumps in the road, had a heart attack, and then was not forced to move, but had to move,
Right.
and moved into here.
Right.
About just a few months after having a heart, kind of
Yeah,
getting
that
on the
was
road to recovery, but not
9
fully
months, yeah.
recover.
9 months or so after.
For me, I had a heart attack. I hit some bumps in the road. Tried to put my business back together. Was unsuccessful with that. Went into another business. Didn't really enjoy that at all. Tried to put my business back together again with my partners. We were all trying to do it,
Right.
and I was trying to do that while Michael and I were working together.
Right.
I mean, Michael
I
would be
remember-
on the phone.
I was listening to him talk about this the entire time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my heart attack occurred. I started to recover from. I miraculously started to recover from that,
Right.
and shortly after that, moved.
Yeah.
Had to move.
Had to. Yeah. In both cases, it was a requirement. You know,
Yeah.
In that particular case, and there are just these odd parallels. I had that with most of my best friends actually. Here I have 3 best friends in the world. You're going to get a kick out of this because the first best friend is Scott Landers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the second best friend is Lee Sanders. Scott Landers, Lee Sanders.
We have a rhyme going on here.
And then we get another Scott added. in
It's
there.
a lyric.
So yeah. But I'm still best friends with all 3 of these guys to this day. You know, and I have another best friend that I would love to find and get back in contact with. I kind of know where he is, but I don't really have a way to contact him. His name is Jack Harper. Been friends with him since I was 5 years old.
Jack Harper, if you happen upon this,
Please
you
call
should
me.
put a hashtag Jack Harper.
There you go. There's a bunch of them out there, though.
Never know, might reach him.
Yep.
You're gonna like this cherry
I'll
too,
mess
by
up
the
one of
way.
these kids. Oh, I bet. After soaking in all that?
Yep.
Are you kidding me? Soaking up all the alcohol out of that? That's
Oh,
gonna be potent.
that's one of the things here. Why? And I'll show it again. I know I've showed you guys this before.
Real cocktail cherries, not the maraschino cherries you get off the public
This
shelf.
This is going to take on a portion. It has a very unique and classic cherry syrup flavor. And it does not at all taste like those red cherries in your grocery store aisle.
No, not at all.
But this will take on some of the characteristics of your drink. And it makes it a unique experience in and of itself, just consuming the cherry at the end of the cocktail.
Hey, here, since we do our tangents, this is going to be a Whiskey Wednesday Loquacious Libations related tangent here. Betty and I were talking today. One of her favorite things is Crown Apple.
Okay.
So, I got to thinking.
Well, we got to do some crown for Wayne.
for Wayne anyway,
Yeah.
right? So here, why don't we do, I've got a suggestion for one. A Crown Smash
We can do a crown apple smash.
with apples.
Yeah.
Do Granny Smith.
Yeah.
And that would take care of the citrus in itself because the Granny Smith is so tart.
Absolutely.
So maybe just an apple by itself with the... Because this is what I was wondering earlier. Okay, what would you do to try to do a Crown Apple Smash?
I would put something else with that.
Maybe a quarter lemon or something like that?
No, I'm thinking about something to complement the apple, like a cinnamon stick or something to that effect.
Okay.
Something. I don't know if they make cinnamon bitters because Crown is very sweet. Canadian whiskey is very sweet.
Right.
Because it's such a high rye content.
Gotcha.
And apples,
Maybe we should do a Canadian blind sometime, too.
we could. I mean, that wouldn't be very expensive, other than there's only a couple. Well,
What do you
there's
got?
some Canadian whiskeys that are very
Yeah,
exquisite.
Canadian Mist. What else you got?
Yeah, Lord Calvert.
Lord Calvert. Crown. What else? Is there anything else?
I'm sure there is. Oh, Canadian Club.
Oh, yeah, Canadian Club. Yep. I'm sure we could find something, eh?
Okay, Doug.
No, your line was take off, hoser. Any of you who remembered Bob and Doug McKenzie will definitely get that.
Yes.
Little Geddy Lee reference there, too.
That's true. Hoser. God, I haven't heard that since
Take
I
off,
was a
you
kid.
hoser.
What a hoser.
Hey,
Oh my God. That
did
and
you
the other thing
memorize-
is
did
you're such a pud knocker.
Did you get a copy of the lyrics? Oh, yeah, I memorized them. Remember that?
Oh, we're in the Wayback Machine right now.
Showing our age a little bit. Sherry, you'll appreciate that.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I did hear from her, and she does hope to be down here pretty soon. I'm not going to say exactly how soon for the cast because I don't want to put that
I think that would
absolute pressure on
I,
them.
I would enjoy meeting her just
Yeah, you're going to like
because of the background that you've that I know.
Sherry's good people.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're almost overdue for a guest.
Yeah, we are. And
I mean, we
thought
put-
about that. We've got a couple of options here. Here, if Dave can stay out late enough one night, we've got Dave Hall, which I would love to post a song that I have written with him, but I can't just yet. However,
It's so. And here, I want to stop you.
with his permission, I'll post one of his later. That's all I was going to go there.
Maintain your thought
Yes,
stream.
to the song I've written with Dave.
Well, the song that he's written with Dave is when I first heard it, and it was a rough cut, and it still is a rough cut, but
It's got
still
one final touch that needs to be put.
it's still so apropos for right now. It was apropos
We wrote it in
3
2020.
years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah. We wrote it in 2020.
It was so apropos for then,
Yeah.
but it is even here on the sliding scale of 100% apropos. At that point, it was 60%, 60% apropos, and it's only increased
Gobbler.
to 100% at this point. Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm down to the cherry.
This is a
Over
stiff.
here.
This is a
So
stiff
I
cocktail.
wanted to at least share that one. Yeah. Oh my God.
I told you. It's such a unique flavor. I mean, you get the cherry, but you get so much more.
That soaks up so much of the drink. The flavors of the Benedictine and the
And that's cinnamon toast crunch. I mean, that's what I get from it.
okay, I got that. So sweet, man. That is a nice cocktail right there.
Yeah, no, that
We're gonna have to revisit that one for sure.
you know what we can just do it with. This has got a great profile. We can do the same thing. If on one of our hunts we happen to find a bottle of Stag Junior because they're out there in the market.
For less than $100.
Well, no, but if we find
hell.
here, I would pay as much as $149 for that bottle.
Okay.
Okay. Now we
As
found
far as
one
the value proposition side of that.
because unless you win a raffle, the way raffles work, their stores will have unicorn bottles and they'll raffle them off, and then the way raffles generally work, they'll have more than one unicorn bottle. They might have 5 or 6 unicorn bottles. So, and then they'll do a raffle, and if you're one of the winners, they'll draw 5 or 6 or 7 winners. the first winner will get to pick and choose whatever bottle they want to buy, and they'll generally want to, the retailer, because of the raffle, they're making their profit on the raffle, so they'll offer that bottle at MSRP. So the MSRP for the bottle that we are talking about is $70. We found that bottle in our current market for $189. And I made the remark on the hunt video that we produced that was just simply a little more than what I'm willing to pay for that bottle. I will pay as much as $149 for that bottle. And just to kind of give you the benchmark, the other bottles that they had in stock, they had the E.H. Taylor small batch and the E.H.
Which was
Taylor
one of my favorites
single
from
barrel.
prior to.
Yeah, and
prior to
we'll
these
come
casks.
around back to the E.H. Taylor small batch.
Oh boy.
Well, you know, I have a thought. I'll come back to it. Just remind me. Just say bottle and bond thought.
Okay.
You know, those bottles retail for I think 49 or 59, and then 60. And they're $10 separate. 69 or yeah, I think it's $59.99 and $69.99, and both of them were. I think one was $129 and the other was $149. Well, I'm willing to pay about $99 for either one of those bottles. The bottle of small batch that I bought that for $79, which is
Okay.
It's a $30 markup. It's a very difficult bottle to find. I'm willing to pay that.
Right.
Okay, and I have the disposable income to pay that. That's the other thing. You know, just a couple of notes, and we'll come back to the bottle and bond idea that I have.
Right.
Number one, we don't say this enough, but Michael and I limit ourselves to one drink, especially when we have a really boozy drink.
Right. A really hard drink like this, we will only do one. Now, Wednesday we made an exception because there was a little bit of a celebration. We had a really good show. And
we had a great show.
Right. And,
it was what we felt was our best show.
Right.
So far.
And at the same time, we knew that we were going on hiatus for 1 week. So we were trying to get some extra footage for the next show, which we will broadcast along with this. It'll be attached to this one. But we sat and we did a tasting of Heaven Hill, which now what I'll do is I'll probably run that behind this as the special segment.
Okay.
So they'll see the tasting of the Heaven Hill right after this, along with the outtakes, because we were already a little bit tipsy when we started it in our little hand cut and action shit. Anyway, we'll have a little fun with that after this broadcast. But where was I going with that? Tangent.
Yeah, no tangent. I'm just going to bring us back to the bottle and bond idea.
Yes, please do. That's because that's kind of where I was headed.
One of the things that we have coming up is we're going to do
bottle and bond. That's what I was talking about.
We're going to do a bottle and bond blind, a budget bottle and bond blind.
Right.
A budget bourbon bottle and bond blind. So lots of lots
Joe
of bees
Biden
in there.
over there, man, with all the bees.
Right, exactly. Now we have 2 bottles already. The Benchmark bottle and bond and the Old Granddad bottle and bond. The other 2 bottles that we're seeking,
on the hunt.
and I know where one is, and I know where I can get both of them, but I'm trying to get them at because I'm trying to get them at MSRP because I don't want to pay for shipping, and that'll double the price. And
Right.
But the other is Early Times bottle and bond, which is a $17 or $18 bottle, and you get a liter, and that very well could win that. I mean. Okay. And in here, the bottle and bond to me, that's just it's like my favorite proof point. I say this all the time, but I like that 90 to 110. That's kind of the range of my window. No,
Yeah.
This is 116.8.
The higher side of that, right?
This is really the high end, but I really like this whiskey.
Right.
But going back to my original point, we're doing a budget bottle and bond blind, and the last one is very old Barton bottle and bond. So those are the 4 bottles we want to try.
Right.
What I thought of is then we said in the footage that you're going to see is Well, we'll take Heaven Hills Bottle and Bond, which is very good whiskey for $50. We got it for $46.99 on
Right.
sale. There are $70 and $80 bottles that are not as good as that particular whiskey. That is a value
That's
proposition.
a really good one, yeah.
There's other
And
bottle
tasting
and
was really nice.
there's
You'll
other
see
bottle
that.
and bonds though that if you can get them at MSRP, and we've shown you one of them that had the most ridiculous markup I have ever seen in my fucking life
Right?
on our bourbon hunt, and that was 1792 bottle and bond, which is very delicious whiskey. I've had that in the past because, as I've said, that 100 proof or right around 100 proof is just that's the
It's a
proof
sweet
point.
spot.
That
Yeah.
is my sweet spot exactly. So my proposal is we take the bottle and bond blind for the budget bottle and bond, take the winner of that, and put it up against 3 other bottles. We have one. The 1792 can be one, and E.H. Taylor's bottle and bond
Ooh.
can
Now
be
you've got my attention for damn sure.
can be the 4th bottle, and see how they stack. And you will be, if I'm a prognosticator.
He's testing my novice palate over here.
Well, there's all the budget bottles that we're thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
I've had all of them, and I wouldn't be surprised if any one of those wins it.
Really?
Okay, and I wouldn't be surprised if in theory, this $20 bottle of whiskey should not be able to go up against these $40, $50, and $60 bottles
Right.
of whiskey, right?
Right.
I would be shocked if it didn't place higher than last.
Okay.
I
All right.
and would I be shocked if it won? I might be a little surprised, but not really.
Not too bad. Right.
Not too bad. I mean, of the whiskeys I'm thinking about between the Heaven Hill and the 1792 B&B and E.H. Taylor's B&B, and then the other 4, regardless of who would win. I like all of those whiskeys.
I for one am excited about trying all these different whiskeys because that's
It's just part of the fun that we're having.
part of the fun that we're having, right?
But now here
again, and there again, not what this is all about though.
No, I need to circle back.
Go
One
ahead.
of the things that I was trying to get at before is
I'll circle back to that in a minute.
is we have one drink,
Right.
and I can't. And this is a very good. I really like this particular
Potent
cocktail,
drink, yeah.
but it's very potent.
Yeah. I'm feeling it. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
So my point is I know this is said so much in our society that it kind of just washes off our mind like a duck off water off a duck's back.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, please drink responsibly.
Absolutely. We have had.
So
one
when you're
drink
watching
each.
us, stay at home and have a drink. And if you're
I
at
would
home, have
not-
2.
Right. I would not want to drive right now. Scott's going to stay a little bit after this cast before he gets released to drive.
I always that's what they don't see, but
Right.
I'm usually
we
here
take
for
care of each other.
I'm
too,
usually
but-
here for like an hour
Yeah.
after we're done.
But like even when we used to do this up at Lucky's and Winn-Dixie, we would make sure each other were okay before we left
And
the
then
location.
we were only drinking 1 or 2 beers.
1 or 2 beers at the very most, but we would always stay long enough to be sober to drive.
Yeah, no, we would be done drinking our 1 beer.
And had some food to soak it up.
Yeah.
You know.
So, and I had food before I came over.
Right.
I
And
pounded down
usually
pizza,
me too.
including the crusts.
Right.
So,
Nice.
yes.
Oh, Scott makes some incredible. Scott's a foodie. The sage over here is not just a sage about one thing.
Yeah, well,
This
I know
man
how to
does-
juggle.
This man does homemade pizza crust and homemade pizza. It's freaking incredible. I mean, no doubt about that.
I appreciate that. But yeah, the only thing that I've gotten so obsessive with pizza we can end on this. I've gotten so obsessive with pizza that the only thing that I haven't, the pizza that I like, is sausage, pepperoni, onions, mushrooms, olives.
Ooh.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I've gotten so obsessive about pizza that the only thing that I don't produce, and of course cheese, the only thing that I haven't produced from hand, from the dough, the sauce, the sausage, the pepperoni, the cheese, the only thing that I haven't produced or grown myself are the olives. That's
Nice.
how ridiculously obsessed I am with fresh ingredient pizza.
Dude, Betty can't do pizza with red sauce very well.
Well, then we'd
So
have
lot
to
of
make
times
her a
she'll
white
have to do
sauce
an
pizza.
Yeah, she'll have to do an Alfredo
Yeah.
white sauce pizza or whatever. But you've got to get Betty involved in tasting your pizza sometime.
And here I'm very open source with my dough recipe, my sauce recipe. You know, I mean, I'm in the process right now of harvesting and canning my tomatoes.
Really?
So yeah,
Dude, you might have to help me with the homemade spaghetti because you know what's coming up. It's that time of year.
oh, we're really getting into that kind of season. Too.
Yeah.
I'm so
Here,
looking. Fall is my favorite season.
We
so.
might have to do a special Whiskey Wednesday food episode and do like.
But we said we're never doing food.
Well, we said that.
You lied. Damn it, man.
Damn it, Jim. Damn it, Jim. I'm a podcaster, not a.
I'm a live streamer, not a chef.
Actually, he's a pretty damn good chef. All right. We will see you guys next week. That will be not the 24th, but I guess the first week in August.
First week of August. It'll be third.
Or that'd be the 31st. Wait.
No.
31st. Wait, the calendar on that. Oh, shit.
Oh, you fucked it up.
I fucked up the outro. Come on.
Yeah, but see, you can put in. You can put in.
YouTube. Oh, there it is. Yeah, we can drop in there. Okay, here we go. We're back.
I'll get the calendar.
All right. So, we're not going to edit that. It's just going to be a damn blooper in the
No, it'll
reel.
be the 31st. The 31st
Okay.
of July.
So, 31st of July. And what did we say?
And we're gonna kick off the August period.
Yes.
The early fall or the late summer, whatever you want to call it.
I haven't named it yet, but here. I figured out what we're going to do.
With gin and tonic.
This is Whiskey Wednesday Season 1. End of season. 12 shows. All right? So we're going to start the next one off with a little different title for the first 5 weeks. And then we're going to come back with Whiskey Wednesday after that for Season 2.
We'll see you then. We'll see you then.
You guys have a great evening. Loquacious Libations signing off. See you next Wednesday. Video's running. And action.
It's a post-game celebration.
Yes. Let's start again there.
Okay.
Action. Some of this will make a B-reel.
Yes, absolutely. Outtakes. We're still gassed from our episode tonight.
And it's not just the liquor. It's
we had such a good time doing tonight's show.
We had a blast tonight.
It got to be one of our normal
nights. Use
nights.
that as it is. Loquacious Libations is no longer live, but we are having a little after party.
Our post-game celebration.
Yes. And we're going to tie this in for our show next week. So this will actually be broadcasting on Whiskey Wednesday, July 24th.
Okay. Very
All
good.
Right. So we have something from our hunt. Heaven Hill.
Heaven Hill's Bottle and Bond 7-year whiskey. This is a tasty treat. It's about a $50 bottle, and it's worth every penny. It's my opinion. You know, my opinion's subjective. Your taste buds are subjective.
Right.
So I know some people that are not won't bend over backwards to say how good this is, but I personally like. Heaven Hill puts out very, very good whiskey.
Now this is nothing you've ever brought over before, so this is going to be a brand new, fresh taste for me, right?
And just to give you, my bottle is about
All right.
there. So,
But this is something that I have never sampled at all. So this will be a fresh.
and we're getting neck
taste.
pours, so we're not getting very oxygenated whiskey.
That's all right. We'll let it oxygenate a little bit while it's out sitting out.
I gave myself a heavy pour there.
That's all right. You
I
can
gotta
stay
drive.
as long as you need to.
Yeah, I know. Well, we got work to do.
Yep. We got some voiceover work and all that. So yeah. Let's get that going right here.
Ginger.
Hello, Ginger.
Oh, that
Yeah,
smells
she's
nice.
too low to be able to get.
Oh!
Well, no, she might be able to get in there.
Ginger's
Hi,
looking
sweet
for a
girl.
sniff.
She's like,
Ginger's
"Can I have
looking for a
of
sniff.
that?" Yeah, you
You
can't
looking
have
for a
any of
sniff?
that.
No, she's
Woo,
like,
that's
"Oh,
a
no."
little much. Ginger is our puppy here. Is part of the thing behind the scenes.
Oh,
Almost.
yeah.
Things you never get to see. Ooh, that is nice.
Caramel. It's typical.
It's not vanilla in there.
No,
though,
it's
like
brown
it is with some
sugar
of the
and
others.
caramels and
There's something.
barrel char and
I was gonna say it's the barrel that I'm getting out of that.
little honey. Little honey. Little honey.
Bit of honey.
Look at Betty looking at me right now. What the hell are you
Hi,
talking
Betty.
about? You can edit that out if you want.
No, we're keeping everything. This is. Whoop. Did you see that? Oh, that was perfect, dude. It splashed and it went right back. I wish I'd had a picture of that.
Well, maybe you caught it.
Well, no, because it would have had to been from my view.
Oh.
The way it slipped up on the glass and then went right back in. Even the little drop that came up, there was no spill there, dude.
Yeah, boy,
proud
this
of
is this is
I haven't even.
this is for a 7-year whiskey. This is why I think this bottle is a value. Okay, first of all, we got it on sale, $46, $47,
$46.99.
$46.99. Normally in our market, this is a $51, $52 bottle. Okay, so we got about a 10% discount on that.
That's tasty.
Oh yeah, no. For us, my second point and the biggest point I'd like to make with this is this: they used to have a bottled and bond product that they discontinued because of the barrel economics that I talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago. That was not an age stated product, but it was probably an 8 to 10 year product, and it was very, very, very tasty. But it just the market changed, so they changed with the market.
Right.
Now, it might have been a younger whiskey. If I just don't remember because it's too long ago, and the Swiss cheese just doesn't contain the information it used to. So, for a 7-year whiskey, which is in a middle-aged whiskey, okay, for a bourbon.
It's what ancient age used to be.
Well, the flavor that you're getting, there are a lot of 10-year whiskeys that don't have this.
I was going to say, this is a very flavorful whiskey.
And just smelling it, it just smells so...
Since we have a light on our face over here,
So good.
you can actually get a pretty good view
color's-
of the legs, too.
Yeah, no, the color is a great amber color. It's
That's got good legs.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And the color, like you said, that's a nice, rich amber. A little bit of a warm hug going down.
I like this a lot. Now, are there whiskeys I like more?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But value proposition wise, there are bottles out there that are $80 that aren't as good as this.
Right.
So
under $50, Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond. It's a 7-year whiskey.
and it's 100 proof. It's
100
my
proof.
favorite proof. Can you make cocktails with this? Yes. You're putting expensive whiskey in a cocktail because I think that there's whiskey that is here. I think that there are, when we do our bottled and bond contest, we'll see which. You know what would be interesting to do? This will be interesting. We'll set it up. Here's the setup. You got to set up to knock it down, right?
I'm setting up at the same time back here.
This bottle is not going to be in our bottled and bond blind.
Okay.
Okay. But what will be interesting to do is take the winner of our blind and blind it against this.
And you know what? That's a very cool idea.
Because all of
So there's
our
2 shows in itself.
Bottled and Bond bottles are under $25 or under. Well, no, I think the most expensive is Old Granddad, which was $23.
Right.
I gotta get the other 2
We
bottles.
got to circle back there because we both saw something about OGD 114.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true. Let's circle back there next week.
Well, tomorrow night. Which will
Tomorrow-
be next week.
Which will be next week.
Which will be tonight for those of you watching now. Later in the show.
Yes, when our shirts change, you'll realize
That we're on a different,
we're
a
doing
different
something else.
episode, right? By the way, cool, Smokey Bear.
Yeah, man, I love this shirt. My daughter gave me this shirt,
Very cool.
which I get to see her coming up next week.
Awesome.
I get to see her on Tuesday or Wednesday. I
Oh,
forget which
here,
day she's
I mentioned
coming
on
out.
the actual weekly episode tonight, last week for you guys, that Betty and I were going to a couple of concerts coming up.
Oh yeah.
It's actually the same band twice. We're seeing Creed in September with 3 Doors
Hopefully they'll
Down.
give you 2 different playlists.
Yeah, because it's 2 different tours.
Oh, you definitely will probably get 2 different playlists.
Same opener except for one exception on that. So it's going to be Creed and 3 Doors Down, and I think there's a third band, if I'm not mistaken, for the Summer of '99 tour that's happening in September. And I think we're seeing that at the Mid Florida Amphitheater in Tampa.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Then in December, if I remember correctly, Betty said we were doing Orlando for that one. We're seeing Creed again with 3 Doors Down,
Okay.
with in support Mammoth WVH.
Oh,
Yes, that's going to be a
that should
treat
be
right there. I
cool.
can't wait to see
you know,
Wolfgang.
the climax of that might be all of them on stage at once.
Yeah.
Which I would anticipate going to that show.
But dude, Mark Tremonti, period. I mean, I love him in Alter Bridge. I love his solo material. I've never been a huge Creed fan because I was not a fan of what I like to call the lockjaw era of alternative rock and roll.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though watching their videos, their mouths are open wide, it sounds like they're singing through their teeth. Everybody through that whole era.
Yeah,
of music.
no, I know what you're talking about, and I get
I
it.
can't do it. Not much, a little bit. But, I mean, Creed is an awesome group. And
Yeah,
essentially...
no, worth the price of admission.
Absolutely. But, yeah, here, Alter Bridge is Creed with a different front man. That's all it is. You know, you've got Miles Kennedy playing guitar and singing out there in front of the same backing band for Scott Stapp. So didn't know if you knew that. A little bit of rock and roll trivia for you guys.
Didn't know that.
Yep.
So, not to go off on another tangent.
Right, but back to Wolfgang.
Oh,
Too.
that's just
That's going to be the treat right there. That's actually
that's
my
just
full
worth
draw
the price of admission, really.
right there by itself. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, just to see
Plus, you never
a piece
know.
of history.
You know, with him, you never know what you're going to get. And I mean, you're going to get a great show, but
Hell
there
yeah.
might be.
Well, he's a phenomenal musician.
Well, in Florida, Sammy Hagar lives in Florida.
Yeah,
So
dude.
you never know what you're going to get.
You know they were in Sammy and Michael Anthony and Jason Bonham and Joe Satriani were in Tampa this past weekend, and we missed it.
Another show worth the price of admission.
Absolutely. I've got a buddy up in Atlanta who went to see them, and again, this
This has got great.
for you guys. It's last night, a week and a night ago. But yeah,
Great finish. I've
Yeah.
forgotten because I haven't had a sip of this for quite a long time. The finish is, I mean, I'm a good 2 minutes past, and it's still on my palate.
it's very, very sweet back finish, not on the edge of the tongue. It's back
but,
in the throat.
You know, the other thing I wanted to ask you, because, I mean, I know you know, this is my favorite proof point.
Right? 100.
Are you getting why now? Is your palate getting
Yeah.
to the point where you're seeing what
It is.
that you're not
'Cause here
the alcohol? I don't taste the alcohol anymore.
for straight stuff. Honestly, for me, it's always been doing shots at a damn bar. Okay, so You didn't get much of a taste of it. Jack Daniels.
No, because it's down hatch.
Right.
And Jack Raw.
Yeah. You got to do a
I
bit
call
back
it.
on it. At
I
least,
call
you
it
know.
Jack Raw for a reason.
Yeah.
Bareback.
I did finally learn to do tequila without training wheels, but yeah, I mean, as far as my drinking over the years, I wasn't a serious drinker. Never have been. I'm
And you
not,
weren't a cocktail drinker.
Well, yeah, but here the thing is, I've never liked getting drunk. Okay, we don't get drunk; we get tipsy.
And
That's
if that, I
Yeah.
mean, really, I mean, we're consuming 2 ounces of alcohol, which is
Right.
going to be out of our system in an hour and a half.
right, exactly. But you know, it's never been part of the cocktail culture or the appreciation culture.
And you know, that's a great point, because it's more about the appreciation. I think this has to do a lot with, you know where I'm going. I know you know where we're going.
Yeah.
We have such an appreciation for so many things that both of us probably didn't in previous to the shit that
Our
we've been
meeting
through.
or in the
Yeah.
stuff that we've been through. Yeah, here, dying will change your ass.
Oh, more than you can fathom, more than you can imagine.
And here, for those that ask, I have no memory. I don't have a near
don't
death
have an
experience
out-of-body
or anything like
experience.
that. Yeah, I have nothing like that. I lost all memory 15 miles hours
Michael,
prior to my heart attack. But
Hatter, you're so fortunate, because man, the shit that rattles around in my head now is.
oh, I bet. And to an extent, I've still got some PTSD from it. I mean, there's no doubt.
Oh, I think
You
both
know,
of us do.
Dude,
I think back on that, and I'm just
you get worried about being a hypochondriac after you've been through something like that.
or
'Cause
anything.
you're afraid you're complaining too much, but you're
Or-
concerned.
No, like you get a gas bubble that doesn't feel right,
Dude,
and you start wigging.
yeah, today. Have
Yeah,
it
and
right
then
here.
all of a sudden, you burp, and you're like,
Okay.
oh, okay,
All good.
we're good, we're
And-
fine.
And inside, you never really had that full fear, but it's in the back of your damn head.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'll get a chest pain, and it's just from working out, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, is that muscular? Oh, yeah.
Well,
I
here,
think
between
so.
broadcasts, you saw me sit down for a
I
second.
know,
over
and you
here.
said to me,
Yeah, I just
I
had a
just
small
had a
chest
little
pain. I'm
chest
good.
pain, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, he's good, because I knew, but I
Right.
immediately knew.
And what people don't realize is we get those from time to time naturally now too.
Yeah.
The mild angina is a side effect of what we've been through.
Unfortunately, yeah, the stents live in
And
there. I mean, and
the stents and the fucking electrical shocks that we took.
don't
7 to 8 in my case. I have no idea in his.
19.
Oh, damn.
19.
But yeah. So
You know,
anyway,
I was
one
about to
reason
go
we
on a
celebrate
tangent.
life too.
Yeah, no. All right. I got.
Come on, brother.
I got no off camera.
Okay, off camera on that one.
Off camera on what I know. I don't know how I know, but I know.
Right. Understood. That goes back to some of the same things we save for off camera, the things that we don't want to get into on the live stream casts and things like that. Things that normally don't go with this. You know, because this is all about friendship. And, you know, in
and
these situations,
And this thins your blood.
yeah,
So I mean, it's
From-
just a benefit for us.
as my granddaddy used to say, and Gene, if you catch this part, you'll love this, for medicinal purposes only.
You know what's funny is, as this airs out, as this gains some oxygen,
Oh, yeah.
isn't it picking it up?
Yes.
Yeah, because
There's a spice in there I'm getting to, and I can't quite pick it out. It's not cinnamon.
I don't off the top of my head know the mash bill in this, and I don't
It's
have my
not
reader.
cinnamon, but it's something a little sharp.
Clove maybe.
Yeah.
This is this is
I
good.
think-
This is really good bourbon, and just I enjoy this bottle of bourbon. It's properly priced.
It's properly prepared.
It's properly priced. You're getting a good value for the money. If you get it on sale like we did,
Yes.
it's a true value proposition. And there are bottles that are more expensive that are not as good. I mean, this is, and that makes sense though, because this is a huge distillery. Um, they're going to put, when they put the mother label on, this is
Kind of like Buffalo Trace in that case.
Buffalo Trace does it a
equivalent.
little differently,
Right.
but they're going
Equivalent as far as the mother name on there.
yeah, they're going to put out a product that's perceived to have greater value than what you're paying. So, and that's good.
They definitely did
That
in
is
this
good
case.
whiskey.
This is one of the better straight whiskeys we've tasted, in my opinion. I wouldn't quite go as far as E.H. Taylor or Sagamore, but especially the Calvados finish. But oh man,
Just wait.
one of these days we're getting.
Hey,
back
I
to
got
that
something. Oh, I don't have a sleeve.
Right? Well, in our case, it's normally.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, hey, look what I got. You just set up something. I guess we're going to have to figure out how to hide a bottle. Hey, look what I got.
That is the trick from hiding it from the ladies, gentlemen.
If you ever want to, have you watched Matt Porter's stuff that I told you about?
I don't think so.
ADHD whiskey.
Okay, I need to check that one out for sure.
He does a series. Matt Porter. He's got a great palate. Number one, very well known whiskey tube caster. But his sense of humor is so precious. I mean, it is, and he has a series now of 3: how to hide whiskey from your wife or from your
nice.
significant other.
Okay, well,
And it's so goddamn funny. It's unbelievable.
let's actually talk about that one tomorrow night a little bit, for sure.
Okay.
One thing I do want to mention that's current events that has to go with some of the craziness of last week for you guys, this week for us. Did you hear about Tenacious D? Okay, you guys need to go look it up. Because of our rules, I'm not going to go into the full story, but Jack Black
I caught a headline, but I don't know anything about it.
he has said that basically they are canceling their tour. They were in Australia at the time. And that there are no further creative plans at this point.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So you guys,
I'm not a Jack Black fan, but
we're going to
he's
leave
a decent musician.
Right. We're going to leave all the regular current events out of this. You guys look that up on your own. But you and I will talk about that in a few minutes too, because that's big.
Yeah, that is big news.
Craziness. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to probably run some kind of little short right here between
2
segments.
hours later.
Well, and green slime on the bottom of the screen. Anyway, more like 22 hours later. We'll be back at this tomorrow night so we can continue this particular episode of Whiskey Wednesday. And what are we doing tomorrow /
The
next
Wobbly
week,
Gobbler.
The Wobbly Gobbler. Okay, we'll be back in a few minutes with the Wobbly Gobbler.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah.